Hi, welcome to the Daily HUD, where we bring you all the latest in esports and gaming news. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Dom. We got a lot of stuff to cover today, so let's get into it. Before we do, though, we want to remind you, we're looking for your clips, highlights, bloopers. Send them down into the description below, info@esportschannel.com.
Yeah.
And finally, we do have a Twitch channel where we will be streaming in the near future, twitch.tv/esports_channel. So be sure to give us a follow down there. But now let's get towards our esports news. We've got the ESL Pro League to talk about, Madden Bowl 2019 coming up tomorrow, NBA 2K League starts today, Overwatch League is delayed until the weekend, and then we turn our attention towards gaming news in general. We're going to be talking about the upcoming Days Gone over the which should be releasing in the next 2 days. The review embargo lifts tomorrow. We're also taking a look at Fortnite Avengers and a whole bunch of other stuff. So let's go ahead and hop right on in with esports first.
Sounds great. So the ESL Pro League results for Group D are in. Big One versus Hellraisers. Hellraisers took the win. Later on, we had Australis, who unfortunately in the beginning... Australis.
Always Australis. You get it every time. But hey, they did go 2-0 against X3D Max, and it is good to see Australis still performing well.
And coming back up from their terrible loss against MIBR, that Brazilian team.
I was at the Blast Pro Miami, and you know, Australis were the favorites going into that tournament. They were the big dogs. They were Goliath, that everyone else was David. And then they dropped down super early on. So there were a lot of questions whether or not Australis would be able to recover in the ESL Pro League. They've shown us a 2-0 against EX3D Max. Do you think that it was just a one-off?
No. I think they're coming back on. I think that they were a little maybe thrown off by Brazil, but they're coming back on.
Yeah,
on
I mean,
top.
MIBR had a spectacular tournament, but they will be playing later today as well.
Fantastic. Yes, so they will be playing against the Hellraisers, and Big will be playing against EX3D Max.
Mm-hmm.
This is a typical roster. We're not doing bottoms versus tops.
Yes, in group
bottom.
stage.
Yes, no group stages. This just happens to work out this way.
Yeah, it's not score-oriented, I think you're trying to say.
Right.
It's just this is how the groups are working out. And now, in North America, Isurus Gaming went 2-0 against Denial Esports in our games yesterday, and Infinity Esports went 0-2 against Daytona Gaming. Now, again, to clarify, this is Group D, the first day of Group D in the in the Americas region. Group D is the Latin and South American teams coming into this group. So, while we've already seen most of our North American teams qualify, this is the final qualifier for Group D, and still not quite elimination just yet, because we will have that round 2 of the group stage for the second and third place teams. But happening later today is Isurus Gaming taking on Daytona, and Infinity will be challenging Denial. Those games are happening later today. I believe those are happening after the European matches. And then afterwards, tomorrow, we will get our conclusion to Group D and finally get a chance to see which of all of the teams, have fully qualified for that bracket stage, and finally get a clearer picture of the second round of group stage, which should be resuming within about a week or so. I believe they're taking a week off. But again, that's our ESL Pro League results news. After that, we're taking a look at the NBA 2K League, which also returns today.
On week 3.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so we are in week 3 of the NBA 2K Pro League. This will open off with the Knicks versus Magic Gaming at 6 p.m. Eastern. The team to watch would probably be Mavs Gaming. They tied for first against Lakers Gaming, and the Timberwolves are playing very strong. They've played twice, first versus the Raptors Uprising, and then Magic Gaming. Currently, like I said, the T-Wolves are 1-1, so we'll see how these matches play out.
Yeah, and this is the Timberwolves being our team to watch for today's games, because as you said, they're 1-1. Their two opponents are both at the bottom of the standings, so this should be an easy week for this team.
And not such a great week for the Lakers, unfortunately.
Yes.
It's very interesting to note that these games are regional, and they are also sponsored by the very teams that you see them representing.
The
Lakers are out of LA, the Timberwolves are, of course, from Minnesota. So this is kind of a really exciting blend of real sports, NBA, and we've got our esports NBA.
Yeah. And again, the teams are traveling around. There are home and away games to play across different venues, which is very exciting. So it's not quite leaping up and actually dunking on pro
Not
players,
quite, not yet.
but some of the pop-offs in the highlight reels are so awesome because you see someone get a dunk or like a big three-pointer, and the guy with the controller is sitting there playing, and then he just yes, and starts popping off. It's absolutely hilarious. But hey, those games resume tonight at, I believe, 6 p.m.
Eastern time. Yes,
they will
6
also
p.m.
be
Eastern.
continuing tomorrow and the day after, which is Thursday and Friday. And again, we're going to be keeping track of this league. They're running 12 weeks in total. So this is just week 3. We still don't have a super clear picture of the standings.
And we have a long way to go.
Exactly. We're starting to get there.
Great.
Up next, we've got the Overwatch League, which normally would resume tomorrow, but this is a traveling league at the time being, and that means
It is in Dallas.
Dallas, Texas,
Yes.
in the Allen Events Center in Allen, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas. And again, Dallas Fuel hosting all these teams, which means we're not going to have games Thursday, we're not going to have games Friday. Every single game is going to be played on Saturday and Sunday for the regular week. So it's going to be a very, very busy weekend for you Overwatch fans. But if you currently had plans for Thursday and Friday to watch the games, well, now you've got a chance to
see the Avengers?
Or catch up on Game of Thrones. Or both. Oh my god, Avengers Game of Thrones crossover. Can we please get the Night King against Thanos? Or working together with Thanos. Oh man.
Yes.
I gotta go write a fan fiction real quick. Hold on.
Let's go. Also, some very exciting news. The Madden Bowl starts tomorrow. There'll be 16 players that are qualified for the regular season, all bidding for that $200,000 prize pool. This is happening in Redwood City and running until the 27th.
Yes.
The crowning event of the Madden Champions Series will be on the 27th. Do you have anything to say, Dom?
I mean, it starts on the 25th, and we're all excited to see how that's going to go. I mean, the Madden Bowl has been leading up to this, the grand finale, and again, $200,000 on the line for a single player, I should clarify, single team player style tournament. So it's not like the NBA 2K League where you have a handful of players all playing on the same team. It's strictly 1 versus 1 in this format.
Fantastic. So they have a chance to win that full prize pool.
They do, yes.
Wow.
But now we get a chance to turn our attention towards gaming news. Because we've got a lot of really cool stuff that happened over the course of yesterday and some things that are happening later this week well. Fortnite, you knew we were going to talk about it. You knew it was coming.
Yeah,
They've been putting out
Fortnite
content daily. They've been talking about the Avengers lately, putting out these teasers.
Giving us some teasers on the map, too, I noticed.
Saying whatever it takes as the caption, with a Fortnite character holding Captain America's shield, with Thor's new Stormbreaker axe.
Right, and you do remember our quick fix where we mentioned
perhaps
a full skin, but right now we just have...
Well, we don't know yet.
So, we've just seen pictures of these fists.
Today we also got another teaser from Epic Games featuring a Fortnite character wielding Iron Man's, just the gloves, the gauntlet to the Iron Man suit. And they look to be charged up, ready to fire a laser.
Okay. So are these items that you can pick up on the map, or are these items that you'll purchase? We have no idea.
We don't know.
But we're excited.
For Infinity War, they teased Thanos being a part of the game in which you could pick up the Infinity Gauntlet and play as Thanos and become overpowered in this King of the Hill style format. Now, spoiler alert for Infinity War, Thanos wins at the end of Infinity War, so getting to play as Thanos makes sense in the Fortnite universe. However, in Avengers Endgame, we don't know what happens yet. But would we see a game mode in which you get to play as the Avengers? Or is this just going to be a part of the Battle Royale? You can have Captain America's shield, you can have Thor's hammer,
in your backpack.
Or maybe even use them all at the same time and just become even more empowered. But we don't know what's happening yet. Presumably we'll find out when Endgame drops tomorrow/Friday for those of you who were able to get those early tickets.
Right. Congratulations to you.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll understand if there is a correlation between these new alien zones on the map and this new movie.
We don't know. There have been alien runes that have been appearing on the map. The map has been changing. Lava has been appearing in places. So something is going on with the Battle Royale map in Fortnite. And they're talking about Endgame. Is it related? We don't know. Let us know
Always
what you
keeping
think.
us on our toes. Let us
Exactly.
know what you think about these new Fortnite updates and
Yes.
changes, and how excited would you be to be able to play as Iron Man?
What do you think are they going to do? Will you actually get to play as the Avengers, or are they just going to be temporary weapons to celebrate the end game?
I'm hoping for temporary weapons just because I like to be able to go around the map, pick up something new, and feel more empowered instead of really
As opposed to
buying a
just-
new gear.
Skin, a new costume.
I want it to be available to all.
Yes.
That's kind of my point of view.
So then we've got Thor, we've got Captain America, we've got Iron Man. Who do you think is the next person they tease?
Thor, Captain America, Iron Man.
Are we going to get Black Widow?
Black Widow
in this one, yeah.
I guess so.
Or Hawkeye, I suppose Ronin, as he's called now.
Yeah.
Hawkeye. Where you get to use the bow and arrow, because we've already got the boom bow just added to the game. That could be a great way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, people have already been talking about Avengers Endgame. The Los Angeles premiere was on the 22nd, and
did you have some friends that were able to make it?
I did not. Spoiler for those of you who are trying to avoid everything, I'm going to speak about the general reception to the movie.
Okay.
People are saying it is one of the best movies they have ever seen.
Wow.
Laughing, crying in theater. This is 11 years worth of cinematography leading up to the end game, the big finals. So we don't know what's gonna happen.
I'm excited to see Chris Pratt and what he's got to do. You know, he's a family friend of mine, so
we'll give him a ring. We'll get him on the show.
Yeah, we should get him on the show.
He died at the end of Infinity War.
No!
You haven't seen Infinity War?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I didn't know. Oh,
Yeah.
I guess he got taken off then.
Yeah. But he was at the red carpet premiere of Endgame.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe he came back.
Could be, unless they're doing like a Star Wars thing. Where episode 7, they said Mark Hamill was on set every day. He had his own trailer. They have photos of him in costume. And then it turns out for episode 7, spoiler alert from like a couple years ago, he's on screen for a grand total of like 30 seconds in a 90-minute movie.
Right.
So maybe he'll just have a cameo as like a photograph in the background and he'll stay dead. We don't know. It's Endgame. Anything could happen.
Anything can happen, and apparently it's the best movie people have ever seen. So
yeah.
I'm excited for that.
But that's all of our information on Fortnite.
In other competitive news from my home region of the Pacific Northwest, we are having the Northwest Regionals Tournament. These games begin with a Street Fighter V, part of the Capcom Pro Tour, Tekken 7, the World Tour Challenger event, Blaze Blue, Dragonball Z, Fighter Z, Mortal Kombat 11, Soul Calibur 6, and Guilty Gear X-Ard.
I know, they wanted to go with like third, but then they were like X. But X doesn't have like a seconded or like thirded, so they were like XR. Yes. So we're not. Yes, it does look to be a very exciting tournament. Already 370 attendees have signed up as of the day of this filming, which is it's Wednesday today, right?
Yes.
It's Wednesday. And the tournament's happening this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and I believe Sunday, in which Friday is the pre-event and Saturday, Sunday are the main events. So already it looks to be a pretty big tournament. Hopefully we'll get a big tournament. For you Smash fans, we did just have Pound a couple days ago, so no Ultimate, no Melee at this tournament, but hopefully we'll get more Ultimate Melee as time goes on. Meanwhile, we do get to turn our attention towards those other fighting games. What's also compelling is Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I was
going to
say that. Exactly. Yeah. So how are they going to be able to play, and are they going to have their full rank of players and of capabilities, or are they going to have to build up in this competition? I guess we'll have to see.
We really don't know how Mortal Kombat's going to go. I imagine it's going to be standard, no items, best of 3 per round. However, Mortal Kombat 11 has been described as a more strategic entry into the franchise. It's no longer so focused on combos and getting those mix-ups. It's more on your strategy in which you enter into these matchups, which is a little bit more similar to how Street Fighter V plays, how you strategize around your opponent and their choices. So with this new entry having come out yesterday, the 24th, it already seems to be a little ambitious to see this tournament going on.
I'd say so.
Maybe some very early adopters will be able to get in there and show us who's overpowered, who's underpowered, who should we be afraid of coming into the actual final combat tournament series, which starts in May. Yeah, but again, that's going to be happening this weekend at the Northwest Regional.
So Dom, I know you're very excited about Anthem. You told me
Yes.
you spent quite a bit of time playing. What do you think of these new patch updates?
Well, we did get patch 1.1.0 yesterday, which had a whole bunch of stuff, or I believe it might have been 2 days ago at this point when the patch dropped. They added the new Stronghold, the Sunken Cell, they've added Cortex entries on combos, primers, and detonators, they've added a bunch of bug fixes, tons of weapon and gear buffs. They've also finally fixed Titan's homing projectile hit, which is so nice. That thing was way too strong for way too long. It was the sort of thing where like you would clearly miss and then your character would just get hit and fall down to the ground. It didn't make any sense. But again, this 1.1.0 patch, the most important thing that it added also was being able to access the Forge while in missions, while actually in the Expedition Select screen, while I don't think you can access the Forge just walking around Fort Tarsus just yet, but you can change your loadout while in game. You are no longer committed to sticking to the one thing that you hop into the game with.
Right, but these new updates have helped them fall back a little bit on releasing the Cataclysm event.
Yes, so that's the big caveat to this patch. A lot of it is bug fixes and quality of life improvements. Now, for those of you who followed Anthem at its release, it was very hyped, people were very excited, and then it dropped and it was buggy, and there were lots of poor quality of life decisions, and now a lot of these seem to have been resolved over time, which big props to BioWare for the turnaround on solving these issues, but it comes back to the core question of why was Anthem released so buggy in the first place?
Sounds like they were trying to meet a deadline.
Exactly.
And make up for it.
Because the game seems to have been pushed out to hit that deadline so aggressively, it didn't quite come out in top quality. It creates a question of releasing a game when it's ready versus releasing a game when your developer, your publisher has a time slot.
Right.
Which is a dangerous conversation to get into.
Well, I hope that they're able to bounce back from this. I think a lot of people really enjoy the game, and I think that they'll be looking forward to getting finally to that cataclysmic event.
Yes,
we
don't know. We don't know when that Cataclysm is coming out. Again, they've said they've pushed it back, so it was supposed to happen in April, but now they're saying, hey, we spent so much time on bug fixes and quality of life that it will be delayed. If you're still on the fence for Anthem, if you don't know whether or not you want to get back in or invest now that it's been 2 months, I would say hold off a little bit more. These are quality of life and bug fixes. They don't add a huge amount of content to the game outside of one additional stronghold, that dungeon, the Sunken Cell, until we start to see the game really change in its life cycle, looking towards those cataclysms, looking towards the world-changing events that Anthem advertises. The campaign itself is pretty short. It's 10 to 15 hours. The end game you can get up to level 30 and masterworked gear in probably about 30 or so, maybe 35 hours. If that's worth it for you and you're invested in BioWare and you trust them, give it a go. If you're still on the fence and you're not a super hardcore fan, maybe just give it a little bit longer, because we've seen games bounce back before. No Man's Sky, #1 example. It is possible, but hey, only time will tell.
As we reported on yesterday, the release of Mortal Kombat is finally out, and we have a few reviews. It got as low as a 3.1 on the Metacritic. Fans review bombing this game because of the design of the ability to buy and purchase and basically buy your wins. Other people were very excited about this game, saying that the missions were very intricate, that the design was very beautiful, and really enjoyed getting through this game at a relatively quick pace.
Yeah, so again, a lot of this frustration from the players isn't that microtransactions are included, it's that once you complete the campaign, it seems as if microtransactions or intense grinding are the only ways to progress in super difficult towers, in that post-game content.
Right.
And that's making a lot of people very unhappy, because
you spend $60 on a game,
exactly,
and then they want you to spend
you get a 4-hour campaign, and you're like, oh, now I'm gonna go unlock new skins and new weapons and new gear for my character, but you can't.
But they're not there.
Unless you are either a super good player, presumably very high skill ceiling, like somebody like Sonic Fox or a professional player, or B, you have a deep wallet, and you can spend money on those microtransactions to get enough gear to close that
gap.
Ridiculous gap.
Exactly, but then if you go into another realm and start playing with other people online, you might not be as good as you thought you were.
Yeah, so again, that comes back to the split between end games of a fighting game, where traditionally the end game to any fighting game is
get better, get
Exactly.
those skills,
Yeah.
keep moving,
improving and learning.
and getting rewarded for
The-
those
the-
improvements.
Usually by earning additional skins.
Right.
Which is something that's been a long running series in the Super Smash series, where all of the characters are in the game at release, outside of DLCs that are added later on. You can unlock them by playing multiplayer games in which you improve your skill, or now in the most recent Smash Ultimate, you can get them through a whole bunch of different challenges as well. In Mortal Kombat, once you complete your roster, you want to get more skins, you want to change how your character looks, you have to do that with their gear sets, which you unlock via playing the other end game through towers, which is more of a single player experience. And this separates the desire to learn a different skill set. When you play against other players, you want to get good. You want to beat the other player. When you play against a bot, you also want to get good. However, there's also a $10 shortcut that closes the skill gap by giving you more health, by giving you more damage, by making your ability do one extra effect.
It looks like Mortal Kombat is on a definite little advertising campaign, a money
Yes.
campaign. We saw a couple of celebrities posting about Mortal Kombat being on Jimmy Kimmel. So it looks like they're just trying to kind of reel in those revenues and perhaps so that they can create their other version for Japan.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Why
another thing
not?
as well. Like, the game was also censored in Japan and was banned completely in Japan, so
Right.
it's not even out there just yet towards that super intense fighting game community.
Yes, a huge
now,
market.
Again, NetherRealm Studios has said they are looking at the earn rate of equipment and gear in Mortal Kombat 11. They think it may be too slow. So they can tweak it on the back end so that you can get more gear and close that gap faster than just by grinding for 20 minutes, who am I kidding? 2 or 3
2
hours
yeah.
a day to close that gap. Whereas if they change it down to be 20 minutes, then you're less incentivized to take the shortcut $10 microtransaction to close that skill gap.
Right.
But again, lots of people are review bombing it right now. The user reviews on Metacritic are very harsh.
Ouch.
People are saying that it is one of the best Mortal Kombat games in the franchise.
It's very violent.
Aside from that,
It's
yes.
incredibly creatively violent. Like, I was impressed with this
classic Mortal
like
Kombat.
ice picks going through people's eyes.
There's a lot.
I've never seen fighting games
If you're
in this
completely
way.
unfamiliar with Mortal Kombat,
Yeah.
prepare yourself.
Yes.
It is over the top.
As perhaps I might
Yes.
be. Yes. No, because I'm used to just the boom, boom, boom. But these ones are like flying through the air.
Super over the top.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Very exaggerated.
So fun game to play. Maybe not so much fun to invest a lot of money into, but it's great for the graphics.
Yeah.
In other gaming news, Nepal has now lifted their ban on PUBG. A few weeks ago, Nepal's Telecommunications Authority heard from parents and locals alike that the game was too addictive, so they banned the game from the country. This ban didn't last very long, however, because the Nepalese courts have now overturned the ban, allowing for freedom of the game to be played because they were unable to actually prove that the game was addictive and therefore bad.
And that's where it comes to the players having stepped in of the game just almost immediately after it was banned, approaching the Nepalese government with a motion saying, hey, you need to prove that the game is either addictive and or dangerous or damaging in some way in order to institute this ban. Obviously, that's a very expensive and time-consuming process, so rather than complete the motion, the Nepalese courts decided to ignore the motion and lift the ban as a result. But this, again, comes back to the sociocultural stigma of video games being bad.
Bad.
Yes, quote-unquote bad. And we were just talking about Mortal Kombat being super over-the-top and
Super violent.
dangerous. We see that in television all the time.
Right.
It seems
News,
like
television.
Yeah, gaming has a very heavy stigma associated towards it with people who are unfamiliar.
Right, so this opens up a conversation as far as games being bad. Violent games, people becoming desensitized, but we see a lot of violence in the news and on television, of course, and I don't think that that correlates with people acting out in a violent way. And one of the beautiful things about esports is the fact that people are able to connect. The stigma might go along as something like these aren't real connections between people, when in reality they actually are. Dom, you shared something with me about that.
Certainly, yeah. They can be. I think what you're trying to get to is that because video games are the user taking actions often against other avatars which are representative of people and certain actions that they may take against video game characters, NPC characters, that when we do see violence, it is considered to be a direct reflection of that person's intent and can therefore be a reflection of their intent on society, which encourages violence, which encourages shooting and guns and I don't know why I've been melee effectively. Yeah, violence, that's a lot. However, there have been many studies that have shown that there are no correlations between playing video games and violence in young male adults. And in fact, that social skills are not stymied by playing video games and can in fact be encouraged by participating in online communities.
Yeah.
If you do not fit in with this other group of people at school, you go home, you play a game that's absurdly over-the-top violent like Mortal Kombat, but you are friends and you play with other people online in that video game. You form real interactions, and certainly it is to the backdrop of extreme violence and, in Mortal Kombat's case, gore. However, your relations with those people aren't you wanting to actually kill your friends and cut their head off and all of that crazy thing. One of my best friends when I was in high school was from Canada. I grew up in Texas, never met him, never saw his face. I only know his voice because every day after school we would get online and we would play video games together. And he was one of my best friends for years. If I could track him down, I would probably invite him to my wedding someday. Very, very real relationship that he and I had as friends.
Right.
But people who are unfamiliar with gaming look at just the backdrop itself and take it for the entire context.
And isolated.
Yes.
When you're not in fact isolated. And the violence is really, honestly, let's face it, no different than what you already see.
Yeah, Western media, again, sensationalizes violence in very, very huge ways, but it's, again, a socio-cultural stigma of seeing just the surface and assuming that's it.
Right.
And certainly the content can be consumed in a surface-level way in which you only interpret Mortal Kombat and you play it because you want to see violence and you want to see gore. However, the people who do want to see this are the outliers, both in the gaming community and in society in general. So blaming the gaming community for these sorts of issues and problems in society is, I suppose, not true.
Or not taking responsibility.
Exactly, not taking heart to the necessary stigma
Right.
involved in that. There are outliers in every community, and just because gaming is set upon a backdrop of extreme sensationalism does not mean that it is the cause of that extreme sensationalism. But again,
very great point.
Yeah,
very
a
great
whole
point.
bunch to
And
talk
it's also creative. It's also art. I mean, you see these violent scenes, but they're very creative. And if you can look at it from a
artistic
perspective, you can really gain a lot.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes just the sheer cleverness of it all is fantastic.
Exactly.
Like talking about Mortal Kombat, the fatalities are so brutal.
Yeah.
But there's one.
Her head kept like dropping down.
Yeah,
like she got her head cut off
and
it just kept dropping down. It was really interesting.
I forget his name at the time being, but he's sort of a gunslinger. He's got two guns. He starts his fatality by throwing up two coins, and then he shoots the guy a whole bunch. Then he spins his guns, flings them backwards, shoots the coins in midair, and the bullets bounce off.
Wow.
Off the coins in midair and hit the target,
Yeah.
which is clever and ridiculous and hilarious and certainly gory and violent.
And fun to
however,
watch.
an artistic art form in and of itself. So just because you may not be able to appreciate the art form does not detract from its value as art in the first place.
Very true.
But hey, that's again, we can talk sociocultural status of gaming forever and ever and ever. Instead, we should turn our attention towards more gaming news. Days Gone is finally coming out. It's been in development for years. We first heard about it in June 2016. Sony Interactive Bend was the team developing it. They were previously known for, PUBG 3D in 1996. Afterwards, they turned onto the Siphon series on the PlayStation, getting all the way up to the Vita, where they did a handful of Uncharted spin-offs for the PlayStation Vita. And now this is finally their first really big AAA IP. Apparently they started with a 50-person team and scaled up to about 130 by the time that they finished up development. So a lot of people are looking towards this to be the next big PlayStation exclusive generation changer.
Days gone by.
Yeah, just Days
Days
Gone.
Gone.
Days Gone.
Days gone by for our Days Gone.
Exactly, yeah. If somebody could do the math on the Days Gone By since we first heard of it.
Wow.
Apparently it's been in development for upwards of
3 years.
5-6 years.
Wow.
So we
So
first
how-
heard about it in 2016. Development reportedly started January 2015, but people are saying that initial concepts were in like as soon as 2013.
Wow.
So it's been
They might have all those bugs
cooking.
worked out.
Yeah, hopefully it's not going to be an Anthem type scenario.
No.
Again, the zombie genre seems to be making a comeback, which is absolutely thrilling for
Very
zombie
exciting.
fans like me. We've got World War Z, which has just come out. Turtle Rock has announced they're going back into the zombie genre. Days Gone, which claims that they aren't zombies, they're freakers, is what they're calling the people. Apparently, it is a pandemic. But they're insisting that they're still people.
They're still people, so maybe they can be saved. Maybe that's a part of the mission.
And that's the part
Yeah.
where everybody jumps to next.
Okay.
In the interview, he says, "I can't talk about that."
Uh-oh.
So
That's kind of cool. I would
maybe-
like to bring back some zombies from my favorite TV shows.
Yeah. But again, this is a very Sons of Anarchy style biker dude runs around in the zombie apocalypse. Imagine if the Sons of Anarchy guy now has to turn around.
Met The Walking Dead.
Yeah. That's basically it. Sons of Anarchy meets Walking Dead.
Nice.
Which is very exciting to see. But hey, Days Gone finally coming out. The review embargo lifts tomorrow. I want to say at 1 p.m. UK time, which is 8 a.m. Eastern time, 5 a.m. Pacific. So that's when we're finally going to start getting our first trusted reviews of the game. Here at Esports Channel, I'm cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
I want it to be good.
Yeah.
Because
We've waited so long.
exactly, it's also a success story for what was a small studio.
Yeah.
Um,
And let us know in your comments below, what do you think about the Days Gone release this April 26th?
Yes, and for the last finale of our news, the Super Saiyan Showdown 2 happened last night in Allen, Texas, in the exact same studio
Outside of
that
Dallas.
Overwatch League is going to be hosting this weekend. Basically, if you're a fan of Dragon Ball, there are these two guys, Sean Schemmel and Chris Sabat. Exactly.
who those
We should
guys
give
are?
it our Kamehameha. And put that one in. Wait, do the hands rotate? I can never remember. Sean Schemmel is the voice of Goku. Chris Sabat is the voice of Vegeta and basically every other character. Piccolo, Yamcha, Mr. Popo. He's basically the fill for all of those other characters. The two of them got into a little bit of trash talk and decided to settle it by playing the Dragon Ball FighterZ game.
Oh boy.
With Sean Schemmel playing Goku and Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Super Saiyan Goku. And again, Christopher Sabat picking Yamcha, Piccolo, playing the characters that they voiced.
That they represent.
In the first Super Saiyan Showdown, Chris Sabat crushed Sean Schemmel.
Oh, no.
Vegeta smashed him. It was hilarious. In the Super Saiyan Showdown that happened last night, it was a little bit closer. Sean Schemmel has been practicing a whole lot to get better, to beat Vegeta, so that Goku can finally win, because that's Goku's arc in Dragon. He always wins in the end.
Right.
Didn't quite get to go Ultra Instinct though. Sean Schemmel also plays the French horn, so he brought his battle horn and started playing it.
This should be a very entertaining game to watch. I am enjoying this. I hope that they get in their characters' voices when they're
it's
playing.
so uncanny to see them walking around as people and sounding like the characters. Because Sean Schemmel actually just sounds like Goku regularly. Walking. That's his voice at this point because he's been doing it for so long.
Right.
And Chris Sabat trash talking as Vegeta is the best.
That's great.
But ultimately, Chris Sabat takes game 1 of this best of 3. Sean Schemmel comes back in game 2, bringing it to the final match of the best of 3. And spoiler alert, Chris Sabat once again walks away with the win. It was pretty brutal. It did not go well for Sean Schemmel, for Goku at the end. So I don't know, maybe Vegeta has finally learned Ultra Instinct. He's learned how to go even further beyond. But Chris Sabat takes the win.
All right, congratulations, Chris Sabat.
Yeah, and that's it
Who was
for
your
our
favorite
news.
Dragon Ball Z character?
Yeah, let us know in the comments below. But again, that's all of our news for today. I just scratched my voice, so I'm crying a little bit. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is the Esports Channel.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
We miss you. Thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah.
Thank you to everybody at the Gamer
The Esports Channel.
Esports Channel.
Previously the Gamer Esports Network.
Previously.
Again, for more updates in gaming and esports culture, tune in to the Esports Channel Monday through Friday. In the meanwhile, on behalf of myself and everyone of the Esports Channel, thank you so much for watching. I'm Dom.
I'm Sierra.
And we'll catch you tomorrow.
GG. Boom.